There is wild jubilation in the People's Democratic Party in Imo State following a court ruling restraining the party from using any ad hoc delegates list from aborted Congress or fresh Congress for the primary election in the state. In a suit filed against the PDP and INEC, an Abuja High Court granted the order barring the party from recognizing any member from the ad hoc delegates elections in Idiato North and Idiato South local government areas. While a member of the party, Chidinma Uzomba, approached the court over alleged missing result sheets of the two local government areas and failure to conduct the delegates election in other parts of Imo. The court has asked the PDP to use only statutory delegate lists for the primary election. It also barred the electoral body INEC from monitoring any election in Imo if any ad hoc list is used. Well, for more on this, I'm being joined by Tochukwu Ohazurike, who is a human rights lawyer and a member of the People's Democratic Party in Imo State, Southeast Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope I did not murder your name.
No, you did very well.
Thank you so much.
A1.
So let's have this conversation. Is it that political parties in Nigeria don't learn from the past? Because when I look at this situation in Imo, it reminds me clearly of something we've seen before in Rivers State, we've seen in Zamfara State, how parties go ahead to have this very shrouded primaries and end up losing the elections. Even though they've won the elections, the courts then void the elections. That's what I mean. So is that how political parties don't learn? What exactly happened in Imo State?
Well, thank you very much. The situation in Imo is that a man emerged as the national secretary of the party and suddenly decided to have interest to become the governor or the governorship candidate of the PDP in Imo State, and now decides to dismantle the entire party structure so that he could put his own people. But even if you're the national secretary of the party and you want to dismantle, there should be lawful ways of dismantling. Don't unlawfully dismantle a party structure that is already existing in the state. So that is what happened in Imo State on the 30th of April, on the date when there was supposed to be the 3 delegates from each of the 305 wards in Imo State. What he did was the people that came to Imo arrived in Imo State and the result sheets were missing. After so much pressure, they now produced 25 of the 27.
The 3 people that arrived from the national?
Yes, that arrived from the national. Now, the result sheets were now missing. After so much pressure by the state party structure and everybody now gathered, people now left their various wards all around the state and gathered at the state party secretariat. Under pressure, they now brought out the result sheets for 25 local government areas, but that was late in the evening. Yeah. What of the other 2 for Idiato North and Idiato South? They were nowhere to be found. So because the exercise couldn't be conducted on that Saturday, on that day, they now took these 25 result sheets and handed them over to the State Security Service. The following day, the Abuja people now wanted to go and collect these result sheets from the SSS, but were stopped by the state and the exercise was not done. Note that only 25 were dropped with the SSS. But the PA of the Chief of Staff of the National Secretary is from the Idiato local government area. So the 2 result sheets for Idiato North and Idiato South local government areas were missing. So it's a taking now that the Chief of Staff knew where those result sheets were. Because if he didn't know, and till date, the chairman of that panel that was to conduct that election did not mention where those result sheets were. So fast forward to one of the aspirants for the House of Reps now went to court because the national secretary was reported in the media to be celebrating the outcome of the delegates elections and congratulating the team that they had done well and that the election was free and fair in the entire state. But fast forward, INEC report comes out, and the INEC report now says that the elections were substantially non-compliant with the Electoral Act and actually voided the process. Yeah. The man now has gone back to write a letter yesterday, 9th of May, to INEC that there will be a fresh Congress in Imo State, to elect the 3-man Congress today. The INEC guidelines states clearly in Article 1.2 that any party that wants to restructure or reschedule elections will give INEC 7 days notice. Yeah. But he wrote a letter dated 9th of May communicating INEC that there will be Congress on the 10th of May, being today. Already today is scheduled for the local government congresses to elect one-man delegate that will go to the national convention. Now, note again in the court order that was issued by Justice Bello Kawu of the FCT High Court. In Order 3, the court strictly, clearly said restrained PDP and INEC from recognizing any result emanating from the 3-man ad hoc delegate election in Imo State, or including or allowing any person who proposed that he was elected on from that process from participating in any electoral process or voting. And that's it, just to be sure that they don't do what this unlawful thing PDP wants to do now. The court said that Congress that was held on the 30th, or indeed any other date, meaning that even the one that they have scheduled to do today
will be voided.
Will be voided because it violates the ruling of
so
the
that sounds like a lot of trouble for the PDP, given the constraint of time, INEC's timetable. Does the PDP risk not presenting candidates? Because this is the process that would lead to candidates emerging. Does the party risk not presenting candidates in the 2023 elections?
Now, let me read the Electoral Act. Electoral Act, section 84, subsection 3. It says, okay, let me read subsection 13 first, which is direct to what we're discussing now. Where a political party fails to comply with the provisions of this act in the conduct of its primaries, its candidate for election shall not be included in the election for the particular position in issue. Now, what is the particular position in issue here? The court has voided the entire process in Imo State.
Yes.
So it means that the entire process in Imo State will be void. Now, in 84.3 says a political party shall not impose disqualification because they have gone ahead to disqualify people in the same Imo State who are not, in the view of the national secretary, supporting what he wants to do to dismantle the structure. So he has gone ahead to, disqualify them from contesting the election, even when the screening panel and the screening appeal panel had cleared them. He got them to write a different report after they had submitted their earlier report, their original report. He got them to write another report. How can an appeal panel disqualify somebody who did not have a petition before them, who they did not invite? But after submitting their report, the chairman insisted and the secretary insisted, and they went back and just coined another report.
So what is the way forward? Because we are really running out of time here.
Yes. Now, the way forward, first, is that the PDP should hear this, that I will say now. Anybody who likes Iyoshi Ayu should tell him. Anybody who likes the PDP should tell them to go and hear this and check very well. The national secretary of the party, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, was expelled from the party in 2019. He did not in any way appeal that expulsion. That expulsion started from his ward in Amimo, in Ikeduru local government area of Imo State. He went to the local government. It went to the Owerri zone. It went to the state, and it was ratified. Why was the panel set up to even investigate in the first place? Imo State PDP won the entire, every ward in the entire of Owerri zone during the 2019 governorship election, except Amimo ward. So the party was like, how could we have won every other ward except one? Okay. Now, so he's not a member of the party. But, because of things and, lack of keeping of adequate records and stuff, they may not have known. And he has been elected as the national secretary. People are watching, APC people are watching, waiting for him to sign nomination forms. And they will void the entire nomination forms, from the presidential nomination form to the least House of Assembly form that he will sign.
Well, I hear a lot of lack of internal democracy here, and we do hope to hear from the other party, because these are allegations, and we'll hear from the other party as well. But I must thank you very much for coming on the show today to express your views on this pertinent issue developing from Imo State. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm just trying to get your correct name properly. Tochukwu Ohazurike, human rights lawyer and a member of the People's Democratic Party in Imo State. Thank you once again.